Imagine two people in their 70s. One spends their mornings walking 3 miles every day, rain or shine, and the other heads to the gym 3 times a week, lifting weights and working through resistance exercises. Both look healthy, both are active, but 10 years later, the difference is stark. The walker's heart is strong, but his balance has faltered, his bones have thinned, and a single fall leaves him sidelined. Meanwhile, the lifter still moves with stability, still climbs stairs with power, still lifts his grandchild with confidence and with no issue whatsoever. Same age, different outcomes. Which path do you want to take? In this video, we're going to break down why strength training may be just as important, if not even more important, than cardio as we age. But wait, this message isn't just about people in their 70s. If you're over 40, in your 50s, or even in your early 60s, you need to be thinking about this now. Because the earlier you adjust your fitness routine to include more strength training along with your cardio, the more mobility, flexibility, and independence you'll preserve in the decades ahead. Welcome to the Unretired, where you're not done, but you're finally doing what you want. Whether you're building your retirement plan or already living it, this is your guide to rethinking, reshaping, and reimagining the next chapter. Not by chance, but by choice. And if you haven't already, please take a moment to like and subscribe to this channel. It's the easiest way to support what we're building here, and it ensures that you won't miss future conversations about how to live a stronger, healthier, and more fulfilled retirement. So, weights or cardio? Why does this question matter? As we age, one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves is a pretty simple one. What's the best kind of exercise for longevity and independence? For decades, the default answer has always been cardio. I thought that myself. I've been a lifelong runner, walker, cyclist, all of that. Doctors prescribe it. Friends recommend it. It just feels natural, like walking, jogging, swimming, cycling. These are familiar, safe, and accessible, but new evidence and hard-earned experience suggests something else may be even more important than cardio. And that something is resistance training, lifting weights, using bands, challenging our muscles and bones against a load. Look, this isn't an argument against cardio. It's an invitation to rethink priorities. Because while cardio strengthens the engine, resistance training strengthens the whole frame. And as we get older, it's our frame, the bones, the muscles, the balance. Those are the things that decide whether we are living fully or we begin surrendering our independence. So what are the stakes of aging? Here's the hard truth. Starting in our 40s, we lose about 1% of our muscle mass every year. Now that may not sound like much, but over decades, it adds up to a real decline. By the time we're in our 70s, the loss accelerates. This process even has a name, sarcopenia. Left unchecked, sarcopenia is one of the biggest threats to quality of life as we age. At the same time, our bones also lose density. Women after menopause are especially vulnerable, but men aren't immune either. Osteopenia and osteoporosis mean fractures from small accidents, and falls, even minor ones, are not just dangerous, but potentially life-altering. A hip fracture, for instance, is associated with drastically higher risk of disability, hospitalization, and even mortality. And cardio can't stop those processes. It keeps the heart and lungs strong, but it doesn't load the skeleton, and it doesn't preserve muscle. Resistance training does. And that's why this conversation isn't just about exercise preferences. It's about the difference between living longer and living better. Let me go through a few stories that illustrate the difference between cardio and strength training. Take Mary. She's age 67. When she first retired, she felt stiff, slow, and a little heavier than she wanted. She joined a community gym, but she was nervous at first. She was afraid she might embarrass herself amongst younger, more fitter lifters. Well, instead, she discovered empowerment. A few months later, she was squatting with confidence. She was picking up grocery bags without strain, and she surprised her doctor by improving her bone density. She didn't bulk up, she gained back control. And then there's John, 72. He walked every morning for 20 years. He was proud of his heart health. But when he tripped over a crack in the sidewalk, his bones couldn't handle the impact. He broke his hip, spent months in rehab, and struggled to regain his independence. His doctor told him bluntly, cardio kept your heart strong, but only strength training would have protected your bones. And then there was Lisa, age 70. She was a devoted dancer, attending high-energy cardio classes twice a week. She loved the rhythm, the community, the joy of moving. But it wasn't until she added 2 days of resistance training, machines, light dumbbells, that her dance actually improved. Her knees felt stronger and steadier, her stamina grew, and she began to feel, in her own words, 20 years younger. These stories are composites, but they mirror thousands of real experiences. They show that cardio alone is incomplete and that resistance training has life-changing impact. All right, let's pause for a second. If any of this resonates with you, please let me know in the comments. Have you leaned more towards cardio, or have you started experimenting with weights and strength training? Your story might be the nudge that somebody else needs to rethink their own routine. The science in detail. Let's talk about what the research says. A major study published in the Journal of American Geriatric Society found that older adults who engaged in strength training, they not only improved the muscle mass, but they reversed frailty scores as well. That means they weren't just stronger, they were measurably more resilient against falls, hospitalizations, and illness. Another study out of Tufts University tracked older adults who lifted weights just twice a week. Their bone density improved, their balance got better, and their risk of a fracture dropped significantly. Cardio alone rarely achieves that. Strength training also has profound metabolic benefits. By preserving and building muscle, it raises resting metabolic rate, making it easier to manage weight. It improves insulin sensitivity, reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes. And it lowers blood pressure, improving your cardiovascular health in ways that rival cardio itself. Even your cognitive health gets a boost. Emerging research shows that resistance training increases blood flow to the brain and may slow age-related cognitive decline. So we're not just talking about stronger arms and legs, we're also talking about a sharper mind. Okay, so what does strength training do for aging? Well, here's a clear list of the things that strength training gives you as you age. You have muscle mass, bone density, balance, metabolism, insulin sensitivity, joint stability, and more importantly, confidence. And confidence deserves special recognition because nothing changes your psychology like knowing you can pick yourself up if you fall. You can lift your suitcase into the overhead bin on the airlines, or you can play on the floor with your grandkids. That sense of confidence is priceless. Let's talk about the role of cardio. None of this is to dismiss the role of cardio. Cardio is actually very essential for heart and lung health. It lowers your blood pressure, boosts circulation, improves your endurance, and it releases endorphins that brighten your mood. Cardio is also accessible. You don't need a gym membership, just a pair of shoes and an open space. But cardio alone doesn't prevent sarcopenia, and it doesn't reverse bone loss. It doesn't meaningfully improve your balance and stability. And that's why cardio belongs in the mix for sure, but it can't be the foundation of an aging fitness program. Now let's talk about mental and emotional benefits as well. There's another layer we don't talk about enough, and that's mental health. Both cardio and strength training release endorphins, but strength training adds something else that's very unique, and that's mastery. Every new weight lifted, every new milestone achieved, older adults rediscover a sense of progress. They prove to themselves they can still grow, still improve, and more importantly, still get stronger. That sense of mastery is a shield against depression, anxiety, and the creeping sense of irrelevance that sometimes accompanies us in retirement. Strength training also builds community. Gyms, group classes, even small weightlifting circles create bonds. Aging can sometimes feel isolating, but a shared struggle under a barbell or resistance band reminds us that we're not alone. But this message isn't just for seniors and retired people. This should be a wake-up call for anybody in their 40s, 50s, or even early 60s. Most of this conversation has been framed around aging, what happens in our 70s and beyond. But preparation doesn't start at 70. It starts a lot earlier, often in our 40s, 50s, and early 60s. This is the stage of life where many of us feel caught in the middle. Work is busy, family obligations are heavy, and free time is scarce. Exercise, if it even happens, often leans towards the easiest options. Walking the dog, hopping on the treadmill, maybe a weekend bike ride. All good choices, but here's the reality. The 40s and 50s are actually the fork in the road. If you rely on cardio and ignore strength training, the decline in muscle and bone has already started. You may not notice it yet, but the slow erosion is already underway. It shows up as stiffness getting out of bed, or more effort to pick up a box, or hesitation before climbing a ladder. These are your body's whispers. Don't forget about strength. Adding resistance training in your 40s and 50s isn't just exercise, it's future-proofing. It builds a buffer against frailty and preserves the ability to move freely. Strength at this age means you're tying your shoes without a strain. You're lifting a grandchild without fear. You're carrying luggage through the airport, and you can rearrange your own furniture. Now, one myth is that you can kind of catch up on your fitness later, but muscle built in your 40s and 50s is actually more like an investment. It'll pay dividends for decades. You start later, you'll still benefit, but the earlier you begin, the greater your margin of safety. And strength training doesn't just make you stiff. Done correctly, it improves flexibility and mobility because it moves joints through their full range under load. Squats should open your hips. Presses strengthen shoulders. Deadlifts teach safe bending. These aren't just gym moves, they are life moves. And there's also a psychological boost. In midlife, many people feel stuck, waiting for retirement. Well, strength training delivers immediate progress. Every session, every extra rep, every increase in weight is proof you're not just aging, but you're improving. And that mindset is really powerful. And here's another important point. Cardio is easy to maintain well into older age, but strength training is a skill. It requires learning and practice. That's why it's best to start earlier. So when you're 70, you're refining, you're not starting from scratch. So if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, take this as your wake-up call. Cardio is totally valuable, but it's not enough. Ask yourself, how much time do I spend walking or biking, and how much time do I spend under resistance? If it's lopsided, you need to shift the balance. Look, nobody regrets entering their 70s if they're strong. The regrets belong to those who assumed cardio was enough and discovered a little too late that they were fragile and could have been powerful. So think of it this way. Your body in the next 20 years will reflect the choices you make literally right now. Every rep is a deposit in your retirement account for health. Every squat, push, and pull is compounding interest that ensures your freedom later. So don't wait till aging forces your hand. Start now. Even 2 days a week can change the trajectory of your future. This isn't vanity. It's independence, it's mobility, flexibility, and most importantly, your dignity. And the best time to begin is right now, today. All right, if that's not enough, let's do a little comparative perspective. If we set weights and cardio side by side, here's what we'll see. For cardiovascular endurance, cardio wins. For muscle mass, strength wins. For bone density, strength wins. For balance, strength wins. For metabolism, strength wins too. For longevity, both contribute. But if you had to choose only one, the evidence points to strength as the more comprehensive protector. So what's a balanced program look like after you're 50 or 60 or 70? I'd suggest aiming for strength training at least 2 to 3 times a week, targeting large muscle groups. And that doesn't mean barbells. You can use machines, dumbbells, resistance bands, even body weight exercises like push-ups and squats and pull-ups all count. Add in cardio, let's say 100 to 150 minutes of walking, biking, swimming, or dancing every week, and you layer in your mobility work and balance drills. That combination is really powerful, but strength is the foundation. Now, anytime it comes to fitness, you're always gonna have some myths and misconceptions. Let's bust some of the myths. First, the idea that you're too old to lift weights, not true. Studies show benefits for people even in their 80s and even in their 90s. Second, fear of injury. Well, with proper guidance, resistance training is actually very safe, often safer than the repetitive pounding of long distance cardio. And third, the myth of bulking up. Older adults don't bulk. They tone, they strengthen, and they function better. Fourth, the belief that walking is enough. Let's face it, walking is wonderful, but it doesn't build or preserve muscle. And finally, the misconception that cardio is safer for joints. In truth, strong muscles from lifting actually protect joints from wear and tear. So what's the verdict? Well, cardio absolutely helps us live longer, and strength helps us live better. A healthy heart keeps us alive. Strong muscles and bones keep us independent. If aging gracefully means preserving freedom, the freedom to move, to play, to travel, to live on our own terms, well, then strength training is absolutely non-negotiable. So picture yourself 10 or 20 years from now. Do you want to be the person who can carry luggage and play with your grandkids and walk without fear? Or do you want to be the person dependent on others because your body can no longer support your own spirit or your weight? The choice starts today with a single set, a single lift, a single commitment to challenge your muscles. If this message has struck a chord, please give the video a thumbs up. It helps more people find this conversation. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe 25 to the unretired. Every week, we explore new ways to design a retirement that's not an ending, but a beginning. And remember this, you're not done, you're finally doing what you want, and one of the best gifts you can give yourself in this chapter is strength. So go pick up something heavy. Your heart will thank you, your bones will thank you, and your future self will thank you. And if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks that you'll like these two as well.